Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
You are most welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for us. Hit the notification bell, like and also share for other members to watch as well. You can also leave a comment after watching or send us your view on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277-128-777. Thank you. Nii Lante Vanderpuye has also come out with a powerful analysis on the reshuffle made by the government, saying it's not something made to gain a national interest, but rather a political interest. They did that for some of the appointees to be able to maneuver through the election come 2024. Without much ado, I would like you to join me listening to what he said into detail. Thank you.
We're also live on our social media channels. You can join the conversation as always because it's live and interactive via our WhatsApp line 0549-986-996 or 020-444-7033. My name is Selom Adunu. This week, as always, has been eventful for the first time in many years, and the president undertook his first major reshuffled quite some influential ministers and brought in some fresh limbs. Many have questioned the timing of the reshuffle. People think that it's come a little too late. Others think that it does not matter. What is important is that there are new people to help make some change. But what change really can they make about 10 or 9 months to a major election? Is it a reshuffle for the national cause, or it's a reshuffle against election 2024? Many have proffered various comments on these matters. We will subject these matters to some analysis this morning. Also, in the week, for one of the very first times also, we've seen young sports lovers, led by some sports journalists and enthusiasts, demonstrate against the GFA and managers of our football. They say they want the football fixed. They want the game fixed. They are not happy that in the last 2 or so AFCONs, Africa Cup of Nations, Ghana has not done well. Ghana put up very poor showing, exiting at the group stages, losing to countries who hitherto could not be compared to Ghana. Comoros, Cape Verde, etc. They could not even win a single match. And in fact, analysts have said that in the last 12 or 11 games, Ghana has only won 1. That is not characteristic of the Ghana we have known, the nation that won 4 Africa Cup of Nations tournaments as far back as 42 years ago. What can we do? The young people are not happy. The young people think that the managers of the game are toying with the emotions of the country, because when the Black Stars lose, the whole country becomes very sad. Whilst others, they say, benefit. They are calling for sweeping reforms. They want the management committees disbanded. They want the committee set up to search for a coach disbanded. They think the problem is not a coach. The problem is the system. So we must fix the system, and after we fix the system, we can then find a coach. Indeed, the matter went to Parliament because they presented a petition to Parliament. Some members of Parliament did not mince words in going after the GFA and managers of the football. Some of them even think that the nation or the state should intervene or interfere and then see what the consequences will be. If it will mean that interference or intervention will bring our football back on track and bring back the love, as they say, and risk a FIFA ban, so be it. We'll look at all of these matters today with some of the people who understand the issues thoroughly. Again, my name is Selom Adunu. I'll take a short break, return, we'll do some updates and analysis. It is your show, a show for incisive analysis and riveting conversation. We'll be back shortly. Yeah, welcome back to the big issue. My name is Selom Adunu. Today we are looking at 2 main issues. The ministerial reshuffle, too little, too late. New names have come. Some old names have been, or some old people have been sacked. Keno Furata, Kwesi Amoakwata for roads and highways, Ajima Menu for health, and a few others have been sacked. People think that it's come a little, too little, too late, too little, too late. But what is important is that the reshuffle has occurred. What do we expect of the new ministers? What would they be doing between now and the end of the president's tenure, which is 7 January 2025. Also, Save Ghana Football Demo occurred this week. What options exist for Ghana's football? We will look at all of that this morning. Now, let me provide you some updates. Now, the much anticipated reshuffle came months after the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kodia, publicly called on President Akufo-Addo to reshuffle appointees who were making the party and government unpopular. There is more in the following report.
The much anticipated reshuffle comes months after the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kodia, publicly called on the president to reshuffle appointees who were making the party and government unpopular.
My last question goes to the appointees of this government. Said Mumuduha, a member of Monyanfaso, a banner some say my bra, no from a human tour, no party, no, you to me.
The reshuffle saw Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta, who has come under fire in recent times, being replaced by Minister of State at the Finance Ministry and MP for Karaga, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has been moved to the Jubilee House as a Minister of State and Henry Korte replacing him at the Interior Ministry. Kojo Ponkrumah gets a new challenge at the Ministry of Works and Housing after serving at the Information Ministry for 7 years. Dr. Bernard Okoboy, a former Deputy Health Minister and currently CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, heads back to the Health Ministry as the substantive minister. He replaces Kwekwa Jemaimenu, who has been relieved of his position. Francis Asenso-Boakye, MP for Bantama, heads to the Roads and Highways Minister, replacing Kwesi Amoakwata. Gender Minister Lariba Abudu has been sacked few months in office and replaced by Dakwa Newman, MP for Kankwe South. Deputy Majority Chief Whip and MP for Ayawaso West Wagon, Lydia Seriam Alassa, heads to the Sanitation and Water Resources Ministry, replacing Frida Prepe, who was appointed less than 6 months ago. Deputy Energy Minister and MP for Sekondi replaces Mohammed Awal as Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister. President Akufo-Addo has also elevated some deputy ministers to be substantive ministers. For instance, Fatih Abubakar now heads to the Ministry of Information as the minister, and Martin Eje Mensah Kosa becomes the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development. The president has also nominated Ophelia Mensah Hayford, MP for Fantiman, as the new Minister for Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation, replacing Dr. Kweku Efie. Titus Glover makes a return to government as he heads to the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council as the regional minister. The Oti Regional Minister, Joseph Makabu, is removed and replaced by Daniel Machoto. The president also nominated some MPs to serve as deputy ministers. For instance, Vincent Koasefua, the Member of Parliament for the Old Tafo constituency, heads to the Local Government Ministry as a deputy minister, while Sylvester Tete heads to the Information Ministry as a deputy minister. Charles Echampo is the new Deputy Communications Minister, with Dr. Prince Hamid Ahmed heading to the Ministry for Works and Housing as a Deputy Minister. Adele Intim and Alexander Akwesi Akwa heads to the Health Ministry as Deputy Ministers, whilst Musa Abdul Aziz heads to the Fisheries Ministry as Deputy Minister Designate. Collins Adomako Mensah and John Kwabnasien are Deputy Energy Ministers Designate. Kingsley Nyako is Deputy Education Minister Designate, with Festus Ewua Kofi as Deputy Employment Minister Designate. But how crucial is this reshuffle 10 months to the 2024 elections? A political analyst, Dr. John Osai Kwapo, has been given some insight.
I'm not entirely sure the extent to which he may or may not have had influence on this. At the end of the day, it's still the president's decision and the president's discretion. He may have sought his advice, I don't know. At the same time, these are people who will be serving this president. It may or may not mean that should he win the 2024 election, he would not retain, some of these individuals. But I think, for me, at this point, it's the president's choices, it's the president's decisions, and whatever input the vice president may or may not have had ultimately is up to the president. As to whether this helps the party break the age and help Dr. Bawumia be elected as, president, I don't think so. I don't think this would be the make or break, or at least one of the contributing factors to, how individuals would decide how they want to vote.
Meanwhile, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the MPP, Divine Otu, is satisfied with the reshuffle. 6 of the new appointees are from the region. This, he says, is a good sign for the MPP in the Greater Accra region.
The appointment has kind of brought some joy. If you are on our social media platform, you see nearly everybody is happy. We think that this reshuffling arrangement has benefited the region more than any other region. And so we are extremely grateful to His Excellency, the President, for what he's done. And we are using this same opportunity to assure him that with what he has done, we feel recognized, we feel appreciated. At the same time, we feel challenged to be able to, work hard and deliver elections 2024.
Called for this reshuffle, or called for it many times. Of course, the NDC called for reshuffle, civil society called for it, the general public called for it. President decided to stick to his team. How did this hit you? Were there surprises in the reshuffle, in the list? Were there names you expected to be in there, even though I expected to see your name there? What was the general view about the reshuffle?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our viewers and listeners as well. And then good morning to my co-panel, my senior brother, who have abandoned me for some time now.
When he's enjoying power and enjoying all the largesse, who has abandoned who?
Yes, many people, both even from the government. If I say from government, you have members of parliament, we have party faithfuls, we have a lot of party people calling for the president to reshuffle his ministers, that he has worked with them. Most of them have worked with him since he assumed office as a president from 2017. And many people thought that, yes, looking at the way some of them have done so far, they believe that if they gave way to other people, it will help. And apart from the party people, we have civil society organizations and other religious bodies, and even clergies who sometimes come and believe that, looking at the assessment of some of these people, they believe that if the president reshuffle them or bring new people, it will help. So for me, it's not a surprise to me at all, because we anticipate the reshuffling. And also, prior to the list coming out, some of us have all got a hint already that it will start with the MNDCs. So as soon as the MNDCs, 24 people were removed from their posts, they will believe that the following week, in fact, when the list came out on Sunday, and we're expecting the ministers and deputies.
The MNDC, it came on Saturday.
It came on Saturday.
We were on air, yes.
Yes. So we're expecting the ministers to follow the next Monday. But before president will appoint you as a minister or deputy minister, they have to do a few checks of the capacity of the people. And on Valentine's Day, the president believes that that's the best gift he can give to some people.
And the disappointment he could also give other people.
Exactly. So for me, I think that it's a right call. The president knows what he is doing. He believes in the competency of these people that he has reappointed and reassigned them to some of the sectors that he believes that they can do much better. So for me, I think that it's a right call.
Why did it take so long? Reshuffle is a tool used by governments to do many other things, to encourage people, to put people on their toes, to refresh the team, etc. At some point, it was clear that the direction of the government was not as a lot of people expected. But the president still kept his team. He said his team, they were doing very well. The team was doing very well. The general secretary, quite unprecedented fashion, had to call on the president at a public forum to tell him to reshuffle the team. Why did it have to take him so long, and why was it so difficult for him to do this simple thing of reshuffle?
I don't think this is simple. I don't think that.
No, presidents have reshuffled. The reshuffle is, I mean, presidents.
He is working with the people. So if he believes that they have the competence, these people are doing what I'm expecting, then why do you have to reshuffle them?
For example, Ken Ofori-Atta, in an unprecedented fashion again, members of parliament, it became a majority group or caucus decision that the man should leave because he was not doing well. That was what it was. Yeah. And I mean, these are the people you work with in parliament. They push your agenda. And look at it, took over 1 year. The president didn't do anything. You know, so it should be a difficult decision, or a very difficult decision for him to take.
It's the president who appointed the finance minister.
Sure.
He have assessed the work of the finance minister, and he believed that
he's done well.
He's doing well. Members of parliament and other party people believe that, looking at the way things are going, we believe that if we get a different person to replace the finance minister, it could have been best for us. It depends on the president to take a decision as to who he wants to be in his government at a particular time. Now the president have taken a decision that, look, where we are now, I believe that assessing all of you, you have really performed as expected of me. But I think that for now, set aside and let me bring another people to come and continue the work that you have already doing. So for me, I don't think it is any.
People have questioned his mode of assessment, because if you got somebody like the health minister or outgoing health minister, Kukwajima, I mean, he had checked out a long time after the COVID things, Sputnik V, and even how he got to approve those questionable deals. He said he was not thinking properly, and all of that. People thought that, no, these guys should not be in government, replace them. And now look at the fantastic replacement he has in Okoboy. I mean, all these guys were on the sidelines, on the bench, trotting, and you kept this old guy, I mean, these guys there, and nothing really was happening.
So at the time that the president kept them, he believed that at that time they will be able to perform.
When it was clear to everybody that they had checked out, they were doing nothing.
It was clear to you, but not the president.
Oh, I see. Then the president is on the ground there.
But
it was clear to everybody, including his own party.
He can decide to maintain them to his term of office.
Yeah, but that would be detrimental to the party. That's how come the general secretary had to speak publicly. And if a person like the general secretary and senior party people are speaking publicly, I mean, commonsensically, it could mean that, or logically, it could mean that they had spoken in private for a long time and it's not working. So they must now come public and say it.
I
don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I believe that the president believed that at the right time.
So this is the right time.
Exactly.
10 months to election.
Yes.
I see.
Even somebody can be reshuffled.
In these days, we have a lot of injury time goes.
People can even somebody can even be brought in even in on the 6th of how do you call it?
December.
Yes.
In fact, somebody can even be brought on the 7th of December.
Exactly.
The president has over on the 7th of January. But that's fine. Let me speak to Nii Lante. Nii Lante is having a good time. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yes, you have been in parliament. A lot of the guys reshuffled in and out. Are members of parliament by the dictates of the constitution. How did the party, your side, minority or NDC, take this reshuffle? Is this something you are happy about? Do you think he shouldn't have done it even in the first because it's too late? Or what really was the thinking of the minority when you saw the list?
Well, thank you very much. Let me say good morning to my brother Eben, and also to all our listeners and also the viewers. Let me say, I, by the grace of God Almighty, have been privileged to have been in government before, and then I've tasted reshuffle. You know, I moved from Deputy Minister for Trade to Deputy Minister for Local Government before I became Substantive Minister for Sports. And in all those situations, my president and the president of the country, John Dramani Mahama, will call you and tell you why he is moving you and what is expected of you. So you have a clear indication as to what you're supposed to be doing and what you have been doing right or wrong in your previous engagement. So let me say reshuffles are done for various reasons. One, which to me is very key, is to challenge the person to give himself the best. Right from appointment, you are given a mandate to serve and to prosecute a particular government agenda in the interest of the people and the service of the people. So the most important thing is for you to understand that You'll be given a job to do in the interest of the nation, the state, and the people. Secondly, reshuffles are done to sometimes fix a particular situation that needed to be fixed. So that, for example, let me say, President Obama called me and said, look, I know you are doing a good job at local government, but we have a situation in sports. I want you to go to sports. A, B, C, D is what I want you to do.
In fact, not to cut, a lot of us thought that sports was where you were heading to straight right from the outset.
Yeah, but then he thought.
He thought you could
He
do
thought,
some other
right
things
from day
also.
one, when he chose me to be Deputy Minister for Trade, he told me that I'm the Member of Parliament for Ododo, which is the Central Business District, where trading activity, trade facilitation happens. And he wants me to have that interface with the traders so that we can understand their problems and be able to prosecute their agenda. So, choosing me for a deputy minister at that time was for a purpose. And after I have achieved that, he said, go to local government. From local government, then he called me and said, go to sports. He knew from day one that I could fit well in sports. But there was a reason why he wanted you to go to trade. So, sometimes the appointments are meant to fix a problem. The third one is sometimes what we call the psychological intuition of the country. Sometimes you make the appointments, you do reshuffle and the rest, to be able to bring government in consonance with the feelings of the people, in sync with how the things are moving in the country. So, of these three, I thought right from day one, the president would have had those key issues on his table when he was making appointments. Let me commend him for one thing. He made public from day one, when he was appointing the people, the reasons why he was appointing them, which I thought was a novelty because we haven't really seen that before. The president, after a year or two, should have sat down to carefully, together with his cabinet, and every president I know have advisors outside the mainstream, to see whether the scorecards of the people he had appointed was good, very good, or possibly excellent. If they weren't, then the president, right from there, could have taken certain measures and steps to see how he could reshuffle the, let me say, the pawns on the chessboard in order to be able to win the game. He didn't. Persistent calls from civil society organizations, the clergy, some party faithfuls, the opposition. In fact, as for us, if he didn't listen to us, I wasn't worried because I knew he wasn't going to listen to us in any way. But when the pressure is coming from your own party, some of your council of elders, some of your party supporters, your members of parliament, civil society organizations, these are the key people who are doing day-to-day assessment of your men on the field. And sometimes when you sit at the top, because your interaction is limited to the people who you have chosen to serve you, you don't tend to hear the other side of the story. Let me tell you one innovative thing Professor Mills did. He kept some of us around him, and whenever he picks an issue, he will specifically call you and send you and say, go and investigate it for me. So you bring a report to him. So before he calls that minister, he has an information. You understand? So presidents sometimes should understand that when you're sitting up there, it's not everything that you hear, it's not everything that you see. Sometimes your people who come close to you may not tell you the truth or may not paint the true picture of the situation to you. So it's always better to listen to other people. I think this is what the president did not do right.
He said he's been assessing the people on a daily basis, and he was happy. He was happy with them.
The president is not a repository of knowledge.
But assessing them didn't mean he was doing it himself. Maybe he had a system that did it.
You see, unless the governance system I am used to, I have known, I have stayed in from the time of Jerry Rawlings through to Kufuor, to Mills, to Mahama, is different from the governance system of Nana Akufo-Addo. You understand? Because assessments of ministers and appointees are not only done by your own people. The Bureau of National Investigation, the National Investigation Bureau, NIB now, National Security, and all these people bring CTREPs. You understand? You get information, you are privy to information. Sometimes even issues bordering on performance of ministers are even discussed at cabinet by the whole cabinet, because it's a collective responsibility. So the president cannot convince me and say that by his own assessment. Because if you have an assessment, why is it that other members of your team are complaining about the performance of the people? To the extent that even with the case of Ken Ofori-Atta, close to 86 of his members of parliament argued. In fact, the worst was even the outburst of somebody like Samuel Atachia on the performance of Ken, notably from the same family. You understand? So you would have expected that he would, but he came out boldly to say the man is destroying the government. The worst for me was Ajmamenu's issue, where the president said that, oh, he knows the minister is only tired. If the man is tired,
let him go home.
Let him go home. Because he's not a young man, so you should also understand that age may also be a factor against his performance. The president didn't do that. I think right or the president, as I've known him, want to tell people, as he has always been, as a person, I'm the boss. To hell with all of you. That's his normal attitude. He's that officious. He's that person who has an ego. So to hell of all of you. I'm the one who made appointment. I'm the executive president. I can change them when I want to.
Even when it is clear that they are not helping the government.
To him, the president, for all you know, Salam, for all you know, let me be frank with you, those people, contrary to what you and I are saying, may be doing what the president. It's like an inspector at a police station who is always sending people to the roadside. That policeman, that sergeant, or that corporal may not be doing right. May be taking all the money into his pocket. But because he comes and pays his due accounts well to everybody, he may not be doing his work well. But the boss thinks he's doing right. That's exactly what I saw about President Nana Akufo-Addo and his appointees. Let me be frank with you. I'm close to some of them. And some of the appointees themselves were very, very frustrated. Let me be frank. The minister, the outgoing minister for local government, for example, was very frustrated. At the time, it was even reported he has tendered in his resignation. You understand?
Frustrated in what way?
A lot of ways. He's had his own battles with the administrator of the District Service Common Fund, for example. He complained to the president. He wanted the president to take an action. The president didn't take the action. For example, we members of parliament in the local government committee complained to us.
But you people didn't support him.
Well,
you people supported
because of what the Constitution says. You understand? The Constitution says the administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund is autonomous and independent. You understand?
Yes.
He's not under the direct control of the Minister of Local Government.
Very well. So on the screen is some of the ministers, outgoing ministers, call them the old guards. So we have Ibrahim Mohammed Awal from Tourism, Arts and Culture, Frida Prempe, Sanitation Minister, Lariba Abudu, Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Kuku Friye, Environment, Science, Technology, Joseph Makabu, OT Regional Minister, Ambrose Derry, Interior Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, Finance, the big one, Kwesi Amoakwata, Roads and Highways, Kweku Ajimamenu, Health, and Damboche, Local Government and Decentralization. So these are the persons who are leaving government, save Ambrose Derry, who has been reassigned to the office of the president as Minister of State in the office of the president. Kenneth Rata, we understand he has some new roles, but we don't know that officially. So this is the list of the outgoing people. There are some fresh or new faces also making the list. I mean, the persons like Dakwa Newman, and a few other people. Okoboy, Dr. Okoboy. So we have Titus Glover on the screen, the Greater Accra Regional Minister. We'll have some discussion on him. Andre Japamesa, moving from Deputy Energy to Tourism, Arts and Culture. Lydia Sarah Malhassan, Sanitation, Water Resources. Dakwa Newman, Gender, Children and Social Protection. Daniel Makato, OT Regional Minister Designate. Bernard Okoboy, Doctor, Health. Ophelia Mensah Hayford, Environment, Science and Technology. And then Fatima Abubakar, who has been elevated from Deputy Information to Information. So this is the mix generally. Yes, just.
But then let me also say this. Some of us who are political strategists have known that these changes were not really for the functioning of government, but for political reasons, strategic political reasons. Let me be frank with you. The president is privy to national security reports, is privy to, and he knows that a lot of these constituencies are not doing well.
The constituencies of the new people.
Of some of his people not doing too well. And some of his people have lost elections. And as such, why would he keep those people there for them to have, their influence is gone in the constituency. So why don't he bring in new people who may have some little bit of influence that could solve their personalities and their positions in their constituencies? Let me take, for example, the president recently appointed Frida Pempe to the ministry.
A few months ago.
So why would he change her?
Maybe she's not doing well.
No, the only reason why he's changing her because Frida has lost her parliamentary position.
But that should make her focus on the work of government.
So why would he keep her there when there's somebody else who is a parliamentary aspirant and who have the opportunity Frida is having to enhance her chances of winning the seat? You understand the game? Let's take, for example, Lareba. She was just recently appointed, but she lost the primaries. So why, even though she is related to the vice president, why do you keep her there when you could give the position to Eben so that it will soar up Eben's position in the constituency he is fighting for to become a member of parliament? Two, there are some of these people who are already PCs. You understand, like Okoboy, PC. The appointment definitely will give him a bit of a leverage in the contest he's going into. Dakwa Newman, Lydia. The truth of the matter, the president is aware that Lydia is far, far behind John Dumelo at this time as far as the polls are concerned.
Really?
Yes, he's aware. He knows Ejapamesa is having a problem in the constituency. The president is aware that Ophelia is being given the run for her life in Infantiman. The president is aware of that. So some of these appointments are basically tactical moves to be able to soar up the let me say the performance of those PCs in their various constituencies. I heard the regional chairman talking about the fact that 6 people from the region have been given an appointment. Well, to me, we don't have 6 people from the region. We have only 3 from the region being given appointments.
Who are they?
Okoboy, Titus Glover, Henry Kwoti.
Okay.
Seram is an MP in the region.
Slide is a gun.
Okay, slide 4. So 4. He is deputy.
Yeah.
So 4. You understand? That is what from the region. If you are talking about from the region, people from the region, then it is only 4. 3 ministers and 1 deputy. You understand? So sometimes these are the things. Sometimes we people from the region we hear. It worries us. When it stews them, they are from the region. But when it goes against them, no, they are not from the region. So,
but if Sarah Mahassan wins, it adds to the work of the regional chairman.
But she's not from the region.
Yeah, but she's MP in the region. So
I'm saying she's not from the region.
When we count the constituencies you will win.
No, I don't agree to that. I don't agree.
No, if you were to lose
the regional chairman,
it's work
I
against.
agree. I agree that politically, it's the region.
Yeah.
But the person doesn't come from the region. You understand? I would have preferred someone like Eben sitting here from the region is given that position. Then I can say that it adds to what they've given to the region.
No, but I think he's looking at it in the context of seats.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm giving a clarification as far as that is concerned. It's a mistake people have been making all the time. I've seen people who are MPs in the region, but attend caucus meetings of other regions because that's where they come from. You understand? But they are MPs in the region. So those things are things that all of us have, and people like us from the region are concerned about it because those people are enjoying to the detriment of the people who come from the region. Oh yes, they are classified as members from the region.
Yeah.
They are classified for coming from the region, but in actual fact, their resources and everything they get is transferred to the region across board, and we know, and we think that it must be healed because it's not being fair to the people in the region. So let me say that the council have a problem. They say, do you understand? These people are not going to dance any different abaja from what we have seen. In fact, some of them may even even dance worse than what we have seen in the past because it will take them enough time to be able to get themselves fixed into the situation they find themselves, especially people who don't have any knowledge and background and expertise in the ministries where they are sending. You understand? If, let me say, for example, if someone like Ophelia has been sent to Interior, I will find it more accommodating.
That's a 40.
Gender. You understand? I will be much more comfortable. But she's going to a ministry where it will take her time to learn and get used to really what the terms of reference, the mechanisms, and the systems in the ministry are. So it's not going to be easy for her. You understand? She's a wonderful person, great human relations, always want to listen. She is not overtly partisan. You understand? Wonderful person. I like her. Titus Grover, fine. I don't have any problem. She's been a member of parliament in the region before. She's played various roles in the political setup in the region before.
So that's Ophelia Hayford is referring.
And so I don't think
she's 50 years, professional security. She's a former police officer, current MP from Fansiman constituency. Previous roles, assistant superintendent of police, Interpol unit, CID. She's done some work there. Education, she has LLB, and she also has a BA in political science and linguistics. Yes.
So you understand what I'm saying? So someone like Titus Grover, fine, I don't have any problem with coming into the region, but if I were him, I would have loved to stay at Valco.
All right, so that's fine. So let's hold it there. Let me speak to Franklin. Franklin is one of the persons who have had cause to question why the president was not reshuffling his team. Now this is happening. Franklin, welcome to the program. The president has finally done the reshuffle. People think that it is not actually one to enhance national development, but it's a political or it's a election 2024 move to shore those persons up because, like Nii Lante Vanderpuye rightly put it here, some of these people are struggling in their constituencies. Mentions Ophelia Hayford, someone there is giving her a run for her money, Daquan Newman, and a few other people, Okoboy, so he gets a seat back and all of that. What's your thinking? Too little, too late, good time, will not make any difference, just a political move. What do you think?
Well, good morning, my good friend, and my good friends in the studio as well. I think that what the president should have really done, if this reshuffle was to be impactful, was to have actually reduced the numbers of ministers and realigned and probably merged a few ministries as well. That would have been much more indicative that, look, we are serious and we changing personnel, because we set time with that number, that these new persons, supposedly new persons, are coming to few roles that would probably last for 3 or 4 months of real work. And that is even if they even do the work at all, because elections are upon us. I mean, by the time vetting is done, probably in March, they would have probably up until July or August to settle in. Don't forget, almost all the deputy ministers are new, and 6 out of 9 of the ministerial appointees are actually new. So by the time they are actually settling in the job, time over. And these persons are also going to run, are looking to, what's it called? Rather, 6 out of 9, and almost all the deputy ministers are contesting in this election. So I don't know what the grand plan is. I'm not too sure. I don't have expertise in determining whether persons have been brought into the ministry in order to shore up their chances of election. That could well be. I don't know that for a fact. But whatever it is, I'm looking at the value addition to the economy, and I see zero. I don't see any value addition. I'm looking at institutional memory, and probably because institutional memory is very important, because these persons are going to hand over anyway. In a couple of months, you're going to have a handover to the next government. So you'd have thought that maybe if you're not going to reduce the numbers, then why don't you maintain maybe the old guy that was there, but they would have institutional memory, and ministers could be called back anyway when they're having handing over, when they're doing handing over notes as well. But I still think that the purpose for which this reshuffle was done is really has no impact, no effect at all, except of course what my good brother, senior brother Nii Lante suggests, that for some of them, because their political fortunes are dwindling, then maybe they will be given some visibility. However, that also they look, I don't know whether just being seen as a minister will change someone's mind from voting for you or not. Except of course they are sharing freebies. Freebies, I'm not too sure they are going to find any, since we are broke. But having said that, I thought that the finance minister's one was particularly interesting, because he was the only one that came with some. Well, it came much later after the pressure that suggested that these persons were going to be changed or some were going to be sacked anyway. Which is that the finance minister is now being penned for a particularly interesting role as an advisor, senior advisor on the economy, which is very good, I think, because the good thing about failure is that it gives you an opportunity to recommend ways to people who are likely not to go down your path, so that they will not have the presence of experience and wouldn't really go down that path. So I think it was useful to hear that the finance minister would be given a role within the Jubilee House, essentially to advise on economic issues. Well, the other part of that appointment, which I found quite curious, and I'm not saying he's not qualified for it, is that he's also going to be a special envoy, presidential envoy, international investment and capital markets. Now, those two are quite interesting and quite telling. Not because the former finance minister may not be cut for it, because he really is the epitome of capital markets, and then obviously international investment. Don't forget, he wanted to float a $40-50 billion bond at some point. That's how much voracious or appetite he had for the markets. Whether that was going to impact on our fortunes as an economy or not, he probably wasn't really interested in those ones, because persons who play in the market know very well that you can always borrow against whatever you spend, but not when you are playing a role as a dual role as a private market person and also as a public promoter or protector of the public purse, when you are given that role as a finance minister. And I think that one he failed woefully. But to be given this position now as an advisor.
But is that position official? Of course, we've heard it being said, but we have not seen any communication to that effect. So I'm just wondering if it's official.
It's not, but I don't think it was put in my mouth or put in your head. We saw it, we read it, that was coming from the presidency. Unless the presidency has not denied it. It's been more than 72 hours since this was put up. They've not denied it, and it's only when some of us started making deductions that some people closer to government were like, "Oh, but why? How am I saying that?" And I said, "Well, you leave me to make this crude analogy or crude deduction, because That rule doesn't seem like a split, but I'm not a schmuck. I'm not stupid. I'm not an idiot. I see when you say that somebody who has had this expertise in private markets and run international development, investment, and all of that, is being asked to be an envoy on that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you now will actually have a lot more power because then whatever investments we're going to negotiate as a government, you would have a say. You would have a say in it. You go to the capital market at some point or not to go. If this government should have traveled more than a year or two, you probably will still have a say in it. It looks to me that is a much more interesting and sumptuous role than being a minister for finance, where people will be insulting you if you did the ABCD. I mean, who doesn't like peace? So I'd rather be sitting there cooler and then making sure, like a grandmaster, like the Godfather, I decide what goes into the decision.
I see.
Yeah.
So Nii Lante makes a point about Ophelia Hayford, for example, going to environment and science and technology and all of that. That if she was going to interior, which is where we think her strength is because she's been a former police officer, that would have been good. She would have entered the ministry to hit the ground running. But now she's going to environment, science, and technology, now going to understudy. You think that's an important point to make? So Okoboy, for example, he is a medical doctor, NHIA boss, former deputy health minister. He goes into the ministry with some understanding of what the ministry is about. Hits the ground running, and then things happen. A few other persons, are like that. You think the president should have considered their areas of expertise, especially given that it's a last-minute reshuffle, so that the people are able to hit the ground running right from day one? Or you think the way he's done it is in line with other reshuffles done in the past, so that's fine?
I probably don't want to be brought into those conversations even at all. Because what I'm actually saying, suggesting is that even if they were competent to do whatever they're going to do, what is the impact within 3, 4, 5 months? What exactly would they be doing? They'd rather be distracted because these persons are going to run for the next election. So they're already thinking how I'm going to retain my seat. It probably would have been wiser to have left the old guards there in any way so that they would have just run their term.
But frankly, we call for a reshuffle. The man eventually has done the reshuffle.
Good, but you're asking for there are two things about reshuffle. The first one I said was, at this critical juncture, what you should have done is to reduce the numbers, not necessarily replace them. And I'm saying that the timing of this reshuffle is important. Whether people pay for it, ask for it, we called for it 3, 4 years ago, not now. And now that you are doing it, you are basically replacing people. You say, I don't even want to get into those conversations about a new lease of life. They are not going to run 100-meter races on those ministries, are they? If they were, then maybe I would have thought that someone like the interior minister, I saw him doing the boogie dance, doing dancing to Bob Marley and all that. He'd have probably been better off running faster than my good friend, the current man who has been penned down for interior minister. I think the two people running a 100-meter race would have won. So it's not about running races. Going to run races, which we say new lease of life. New lease of life maybe 3, 4 years ago, in addition to their competence. But right now, yes, he's placated us by saying, I'm giving you, then you are complaining again. It leaves us for us to also make the deductions and ask what value to the economy. Really, 4 or 5 months of maybe settling in, nothing will really change, really. I mean, so it doesn't really cut it for me.
I see.
If you had reduced the numbers, they would have said, okay, now this man gets it. Because reshuffle is not just changing personnel. It also means a root and stem approach, which is what we've been calling for a very long time. And by the way, as the vice president has indicated is going to do 50, maybe if the president had been charitable and probably dislodged a ministry like railway, done a few realignments along, I don't know, met a few things, you'd have said, okay. Then people will start saying that, okay, well, looks like the two of them are really talking. In any case, the vice president has his own vision. But going forward, we'd like to see what constitutes that 50 ministers, what exactly will constitute that, including John Mohammed 60, including Alan said, I think 40. Right? Okay, so we'd like to see all of those. Not just come and give us numbers like Lotto number. We want to see, where we are right now, we don't. We are at an economic war. It's not now that you're coming to start telling us all sort of things. So the president here is lame duck. He's a goner. You'd have probably added something to his jewel legacy if he had actually reduced the numbers. But right now, there's nothing that I can be proud of.
I see. All right. Great. So, Honorable Ebenezer Nii Lante. So, a few things have been said, including what Nii Lante said about people who lost their seats. I mean, being made to leave as well. If you look at the list, carefully, it does appear that there's some merit in that argument. So, for example, in the outgoing ministers, 13 of them were listed. About 5, or a few of them retained or got reassigned. 10 of them leaving entirely, no reassignment, they've been sacked. 7 of them are MPs. And then 5 not going back to Parliament. So those 5 not going back to Parliament from the 7, that's quite a huge number. So it does appear that, like, those who lost their primaries or not going back to Parliament, there's no point in keeping them in government. And things like that. Look at the deputies who were sacked. About 9 of them were sacked. 5 of them lost their primaries, and then 2 of them are not going back to Parliament. They do not want to go to Parliament again, Benito Wusubio and co. So it does appear that if you are no more going back to Parliament, the president doesn't see any use for you again in the executive. Is that the impression the president is creating?
I don't think so.
But that's how the list appears.
We have 2 ministers who, one lost, one decided not to contest again. They are still at post. The minister for yes, he's still at post. Obiamwa is still at post. They are not being removed. So does it also mean that?
But this could be outliers. If you look at the numbers,
it doesn't matter. If we are using that as a yardstick, it doesn't matter because some are still in the system and others have been taken out. So I don't think that is a yardstick as which the president.
No, but it's rich. Really,
I don't think so.
The way the list is.
I personally don't. That's a perception of people. That's maybe how people will see it. But for me,
no. But is it not? Doesn't it make sense to say that the person has lost his seat? Is the person's relevance?
Let me give you an example.
After
the 2020 election, it was said that any member of parliament
that lost the seat didn't get ministerial appointment.
Yes. But Ajali Mama was sent to the US.
No, but I didn't get a ministerial appointment.
No, it didn't say specifically ministerial appointment.
No, but Okoboy lost his seat.
Yes, but
he didn't go back as deputy minister for health. He got an agency appointment.
He never mentioned that you are not going to get any ministerial appointment. But it was there that you are not going to get any.
That's how it became. That's how it appeared. No, those who were ministers or deputies,
yes,
and they lost their seats, did not return to those roles or any other ministerial role. That's what it was. So Okoboy didn't get any ministerial role. He later became NHI boss.
But Ajalima Mahama was a minister for local government.
She didn't return to the ministry. She went on as an ambassador.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean that if you have lost your position.
We're not talking about. Of course, what's the name? Titus Glover.
Yes.
Lost his seat.
Yes.
But he became.
That's what I'm saying. So you cannot use that as a yardstick that because the person have lost his or a constituency primaries, the president decided not to give him any position. And I've given you an example that there are 2 of them. One lost the primaries, one is not to contest. But the president said that you still be in your position. Honorable Nii Lante, my senior brother.
I can give you the reasons why. Obiamwa can give you the reason.
So what was the reason?
You see, Obiamwa is...
you give me the floor. You gave him 25 minutes. I checked the time.
For tactical reasons, Obiamwa is the one who is virtually spearheading the party's position at the Electoral Commission.
I see. And if you had
Kujo, because of the reforms that is being done under his ministry.
So there are a lot of reforms going there.
Yes.
Then it means he's doing well then.
The public service reforms.
I see.
So it is important that sometimes you look at those situations.
Very well. We'll go for a break.
Well, the original list that came up, the Minister of Sports was involved. That the president was advised. The president was advised that because of the upcoming All Africa Games.
Very well.
There's a need for.
Very well. So we'll take a break now, but you continue. But just go ahead.
So it cannot be a yardstick for that. That because the person has lost and the person has been removed from the post. Yet another issue that he raised was the fact that some people were appointed because they are under siege at their various constituencies. So therefore, they are being put there.
So that up their chances.
I don't think so. I personally don't think so. Because during their time, 8 years of John Mahama Mills, the health ministry alone has 7
different
ministers. 7. The same time, Ministry of Sports alone has 7. In fact, when you add Aruna coming to add to it will be 8.
How?
Haruna.
Yes. Aruna came to act as a deputy minister for sports.
Aruna
Idrisu.
Deputy minister for sports.
Sorry, minister for youth and sports. No, I said just for our 3 months. You were the last person there.
No.
So 7.
At what point was Haruna sports minister?
Dr. Musta, the
7. At 7, Ministry of Youth and Sports and Health. Are you telling me that because those people were not performing or those people were going for the election, that's why they were changed? I agree perfectly with you. That's one has been one thing I always talk about it. That when you are sending people to the various ministries, departments, and agencies, it should be people with expertise, which I agree perfectly with you on that. All of us can bear witness that when Okobwe was sent to the Ministry of Health as a deputy minister during the COVID time, we can see the performance of Okobwe. There's no doubt about it. When he's being sent to the Ministry of NHIS, we can see within this short time what he has been able to do at the NHIS, because that is experts, which I agree perfectly with you. And it's something that I always said, look, not only with the NADO, but it should cut across all presidents that we have had. That when we are appointing people to the various departments and agencies, especially at the ministry, and we'll be told that, oh no, the technocrats are there. But when the person also have a little knowledge about where he or she is being sent to, it also helps. There's no doubt.
Thank you for joining PENDREAM TV. We really appreciate your time. Please, if today being the first time here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for us. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share for other members to watch as well. Thank you.
Dedi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.